All right, how's everybody doing? This is the Comic Samurai. I want to welcome you to my next video, and tonight we're going to be doing another Let's Rank challenge. This is where we look at a run on a title and assign every cover a letter grade from A to F, and then we pick our favorite. And tonight we're going to be looking at Kurt Busiek's Astro City, and all of the covers were done by Alex Ross. So let's go ahead and jump right in. This number one came out in 1995, and it's a beautiful painted image as only Alex Ross can do. He captured that awe that real people would have if they really encountered a super being. And this Samaritan here, I don't like that his face isn't revealed there, but maybe that's part of the mystique, is he's that sun halo around him. Maybe he's a savior. But I like this one. He started off strong. I'm giving this one a B. All right. Now, Kurt Busiek introduced this line. I consider it kind of the third wave of Image comic books, but this issue number 2 in this limited series here had a beautiful blue hue to it. I love the colors he used. He always has kind of a humanistic character, and Alex Ross likes that trope too, where you get to identify with one of the characters here, that typewriter, the guy brooding over it, these figures larger than life, standing over the camera. Oh, it's hard not to just love every Alex Ross image, and this one's another good one. I'm giving it a B. Next up is number 3, and this introduced that character of Jack in the Box, and he was such a great clown-like character. I loved his story, the image of him, the aesthetics. I love the symmetry on this cover, the lighting from below. It's so dramatic. What a great character, and it was captured by Alex Ross, the great one. I'm giving this one an A. I love that cover there. It's so foreboding. Next up is issue number 4, and this one depicts a reflection image, and I always like it, where you get to see somebody's reaction, and they're looking, and you get to see what they're looking at, and that winged figure, oh, that is a beautiful image there, and the awe on the bystander's face there. It's like she's looking out of a bus window there, and that captures a time period too, and Alex Ross and Kurt Busiek were both so good at doing that. This is a great image. I'm giving it a B. All right, now this first limited series here was so well done. I think it was 6 issues, but this is issue number 5 here, and it's got kind of a fire motif there. What a beautiful image there. I love his lighting, how he does flames, the characters there. It's such a great interaction. Oh, and it really is a realistic take on how heat and flames would be transferred, and I just love this image. I'm giving it another B. All right, next up is number 6 here, and it's the last issue of that limited series, and it introduced those characters so well, and this image of the moon, I love it. Those 2 hands almost touching. It's reminiscent of the Sistine Chapel painting where Adam was touching God's finger, and it's like imparting knowledge there. There's so much back history with that iconic image of the 2 hands about to touch there. In this one, you can tell it's a female hand, the wings, the feathers illuminated by the moonlight. Everything about this cover I love, and it's getting an A from it. It's one of the most beautiful, elegant covers I have ever seen. All right, now next up is Astro City number 1/2, and this led into the ongoing series here. And this one, it's a bit muddled here. The perspective is so different where you have the close-up in the middle of this isolated figure, and then on the edges, all these figures battling, and the colors are so washed out here. This was the first one that didn't really work for me. I'm giving this one a D. I don't care for it much, and the only thing that saves it from an F is that you got to hunt through those figures. I like being able to look through each figure and seeing if I recognize them. All right, next up is number 1. And this was the kickoff issue for the ongoing series here. And it kind of introduced some new characters you hadn't seen on the cover before. And I love it where they're exploding into the corner, but I like it when they're coming out at the viewer a little bit too. This one that's pretty static across diagonally. I wish for a number 1 they would have kicked it off where the characters were coming at you. These are beautiful characters done by Alex Ross, of course, and it is interesting, but for a lead-off issue, it left a little wanting. I'm giving this one a C. All right, next up we got issue number 2 here, and this is kind of a reminiscent image like the Fantastic Four. I think they were trying to do a riff on the classic team, like the family team. And this guy, of course, is always going to be compared to the Thing, and this is kind of the Sue Storm or Invisible Girl type motif. But Alex Ross's take on this was a little bit different and a little unique, so it did set it apart. I like this image. It works for me. I'm giving it a B. All right, next up we got issue number 3 here, and this one is a different cover here. I don't know if it works. Let's see. It's a lunch tray. Oh, and it's the lima beans. That definitely, the green peas. Oh, why did they have those choices? And a milk carton box there with a straw out of it. Oh, I never put straws in mine. And you want to show pizza or something fun, cinnamon rolls, something, but it does capture a tone though. But I did not care for this one at all. I'm giving this one an F. I did not like that cover for a comic book. Next up, we got issue number 4, and this was a better image here. Now, you've got 2 characters arm wrestling, and look at how their arms are not typical human arms at all, and that departure from that was such a breath of fresh air. And you got this waiter looking back, and that's really where the story is told. You got a glass of beer there, you got an ashtray. Oh, this does capture an image. It's much more playful, it's much funner, and it tells a better story. This one's getting a B. I like that one a lot. All right, next up we got issue number 5, and this one is a very black, dark issue. It's symmetric. It's just like you could fold it in half. The same on both sides. Not very interesting though. All black. Sometimes it works, but on this one, you don't even know who the character is if you haven't been following the story very much. This one doesn't work for me, but I do like a symmetric black cover, but this one's getting a D. Hard to rescue that one. Not very engaging. Those eyes, while well done, just weren't that interesting. Next up is number 6 here. Now this one's reminiscent, of course, of Batman and Robin. But you've got this dark figure here with his white young boy sidekick there, and they're overlooking a scene here. Now this one happens to be a signed copy there, but it's a good gothic image. It is reminiscent of the Dark Knight. You've got this guy in the foreground here yelling, holding a cross, and I never liked the whole religious symbolism stuff. That brings it down. This one, let's see, I'm giving this one a D. Not very interesting. When they start bringing the religious fanatics into it, it's such a cliche that's never well done very much, in my opinion. Next up is number 7 here. Now this one, you got the alien invaders, totally reminiscent of Mars Attacks. You know that that's what they were trying to remind you of. You got that beautiful image of the Earth there, and these alien figures you get to see in his hands over the red button, that tension that it makes. This tells a story. I like this one. It bounces back. It's getting an A from me. That is a fun image. All right, next up we got issue number 8 here, and this is reminiscent of that X-Men 141 where they had all the wanted posters in the back with deceased or apprehended written on it, and here there's just red X's, and that's a symbol. But again, that Christian symbol of the cross in the middle there, it's such a turnoff. Nobody likes reading a story that's going to have all this religious background in it, and whether it's pro-Catholicism or against it, or just changing the mythos of it, it's overdone. It doesn't work very much. This one's getting a D from me. I do not care for that cover. Next up, we got issue number 9 here. Now this one, you get these darker heroes here. You don't know if they're good guys, bad guys. The Wayne figure, they are wearing the cross outfits again, and there's a cross in the middle of this cape here. The lighting is dramatic here, but for a comic book, you just want action, adventure, bright colors, and sometimes a sober moon works, but on this one it didn't. I'm giving it a D. Next up, we got issue number 10 here, and this is a much funner, more lighthearted issue. You got all these dollar bills and that one older guy in the middle throwing his money up, that moment of exaltation like he won the lottery. You know he's a thief, getting away with something, celebrating his misbegotten rewards, and I like it. That wash of green there, you can almost smell the bills. This one's a B. It's a fun cover for me. I like that one. All right, next up, we got issue number 11 here. Now this one was one of the spookier covers. I love that character, and to see iterations of him, and he's running from something, and that dark figure behind him. Oh, I do like this one. It's a scarier mood. This is how you're going to do a somber image. If you're going to do a darker twist on a comic book cover, I like this one. It's spooky. It's getting a B from me. Next up, we got issue number 12 here. Now, this one has a different mood. It's that Jack in the Box and his girlfriend or his wife who's pregnant, and he's got his hand, a caring, touching moment. That green light, it kind of is foreboding, maybe a little bit sickly lit, but it's a more realistic take. He's holding his gloves. You get to see that after moment. That's what I like. If you're going to have a realistic take on superheroes, it's not the fights or the battles or the cliches that they spew out and say. It's the tender moments afterwards when they're bandaging their wounds. They're tending to their family. This is a great cover. I'm giving this one an A. I like that. All right, next up we got issue number 13 here. Now this introduced that character of Leo the Lion, and I liked his story arc. It was interesting, funny. Like, what if a cartoon actually existed in our reality? And it is so funny seeing like a Warner Brothers cartoon brought to life, and he is kind of depressed. He has a hard time making things work. He's like, do I do crime? Am I going to be a hero? What do I do with these powers and abilities that I don't really have but do? But you can just see him watching these other, having a good time. It tells that story that you just are empathetic to him. Oh, I like this cover. It's getting a B from me. That's a fun one. All right, next up is issue number 14 here, and I gotta say, although this is a symmetric cover, I don't think it works. You don't know who the character is that's in the handcuffs here. It's just two guards, a bleak white prison, and the bars there. This didn't work on any level for me. The angle's not that interesting. The lighting with the shadows coming forward is the one redeeming quality, but that doesn't save it from getting an F for me. I did not think much of that cover there. All right, next up we got issue number 15. Now this one I do like. It tells that story of this reformed criminal here, and he's trying to make good. He's got this chrome skin there, and nobody can do a reflective surface on skin like Alex Ross. His iteration of Silver Surfer is amazing, and this guy was just as good. I love the contrast of his chrome skin and that flannel shirt there. This is a fun one. You can see he's in a diner. Just that little bit of an element there is able to tell that whole story, and I'm giving this one a B. Well done. I like that. All right. Next up, we got issue number 16 here. Now, this one introduced two new characters on the cover here. You got that Zorro type character with the whip there and his cape flying out to the side and the sun behind it with those rays going across the cape and that edge of the building and those building spires behind them. This is a well planned out design cover. It's dynamic. I like it. If you're going to introduce new characters, do it like this. The color scheme is all right, although this tan is so muddled. They could have done some graffiti or something interesting there, although that would have drawn your eye to. But the wash of colors with brown is a bit deterrent. But I like this one. I'm giving this one, let's see. I'm giving this one a B. It is compelling. I do like that one. All right, next up we got issue number 17 here. Now, when you have a turtle-based hero, it's hard, or villain, it's hard to relate to them. But in this one, bursting out of the water there and this bridge coming over them and the towering spires of the city in the background and the explosion of the water. I do like that one. Again, I wish it was coming at you a little more or away from you. You can have a dynamic image that is presenting something at the viewer or descending away from them, and that just amps the excitement level. And this one is lacking that a bit, but I love his take on everything else. I'm giving this one a B. And that's hard for me to do with a turtle cover. Sometimes I am remiss to do that. All right, next up is issue number 18 here, and this chrome skin character makes another appearance on the cover there, and you can see the cops in all the reflections in the different places, and it really does look like his skin is metallic, and the expression on his face comes across too. Nothing is lost in this. This is a beautiful image. It's one of my favorites from the run, and I'm giving it an A. I love how Alex Ross draws chrome. It's just so awesome. Next up is number 19 here, and again, my beef. It is hard for me to get behind a cover where you're standing behind the characters and you see the back of their head. Nothing is less interesting to me than the back of characters' head. I want to see their expression. I want to see if they're into it, not into it, passive, sleeping, blinking, whatever. But this, yeah, I do like this character here facing with his arms crossed, but they put the trade dress right across his face so you don't really get his identity. And this area is just kind of muddled here. This one doesn't work for me at all. I'm giving this one an F. Yeah, I can't get excited about that. Next up, we got issue number 20. Now this one, it's an underwater scene, and I always like those. I like to see how Alex Ross is going to deal with it. Bubbles coming up from this finger, getting choked, this dominant figure on top, looking down. Now the trope of the yellow and purple costume never works for me, and they repeat it in the trade dress. I do not like that combination, although this blue-yellow of the water works here, but it's just white in the background. They could have had a fish or something, some seaweed, something breaking up that monotony of just the clear blue water there. This one doesn't really work for me. I'm giving it a D. All right. Next up, we got number 21 here. Now, this is kind of a pop art take on a cover here. You can see that it's supposed to be that, like somebody's viewing a mural in a gallery or something here. But again, the back of somebody's head. But you do get to see what they're looking at, and it's this pop art reproduction of a comic book panel. Very reminiscent of the Andy Warhol pop art that he did. But this one captures that image well there. I'm not sure exactly what the message is. It missed its mark a little bit. It does catch your eye, and I'm giving it a C for that reason. series. All right, the last one. Issue number 22 was the last issue on this ongoing series here, and they ended it with the back of a figure's head, taking up the majority of that cover. And the pink, it just kind of has a pink wash to it. You get this uninteresting makeup artist fixing his makeup, and you can see that he's just staring into the camera. This is a very uninspired image here. I always like a reflection and a mirror, but it's pretty static. I mean, they could have just wiped all this foreground stuff out and had her working on the middle issue and at least told a story there. This one is a fail. I do not like that cover. All right, well, we've ranked all of the first limited issues, the 6 issues there, and the 23 issues in the ongoing series. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ones in the A tier, and we'll assign one, that special S tier ranking here. What have we got? We got Astro's, we got number 3. We got this moon silhouette. We got these aliens attacking. That touching image of Jack in the Box, and there's reflective face here. This one stands out to me, and this one stands out to me as the 2. Which one tells a better story? Which one represents the feel that they were trying to get across here better? If I had to choose one of these, I can't get away from the moonlight on this issue number 6 of the limited series. What a way to close out that first limited series there. The moon glowing in the background, that blue, look at how it highlights all the elements in the foreground. And it's lit a little lighter from below. That is just what makes an Alex Ross piece so great. Look at the clouds. It's like you can almost see them. You can smell the crispness in the air. I love this image. I'm glad to give it my S tier, one of my favorite comic book cover images. Well, thank you for joining me at this look at Kurt Busiek's Astro City. So let me know what other runs, artists, characters, titles you want me to review. Thanks for joining me, and have a great night.